Has been found guilty of murdering her boyfriend in March of last year. Our Chase Campbell has been following the trial all week, and he joins us now live in the studio to talk about the verdict. Chase, what happened in court today?
Thank you, Logan. Just before 5:30, the jury returned from an afternoon of deliberations, finding Barbara Cupp guilty of second-degree murder. Cupp was charged with the murder for the 2025 death of her boyfriend Matthew Bills at his Williamstown home. The verdict came after attorneys delivered their closing arguments this morning. Prosecutor Pat Lefebvre urged jurors to focus on the physical evidence, including DNA, ballistics, and medical records, and questioned the credibility of Cupp's self-defense account. Lefebvre pointed to a CT scan that showed no injuries to Cupp's head or face beyond her gunshot wound, arguing the evidence contradicted her testimony that Bills beat her repeatedly before she fired. Defense attorney George Cosenza said that Cupp's testimony was consistent with the evidence and stressed that the prosecution bears the burden of disproving self-defense beyond a reasonable doubt.
If you want to look at self-defense, you have to believe that she acted in self-defense. She's the only one who's testified about what happened. You have to believe her, which doesn't meet the actual evidence in the case.
She ended up retrieving the gun and shot him in self-defense. That is a viable theory based on the evidence in this case. And that theory is the theory of innocence.
In addition to being found guilty of murder, Cupp was also found guilty of person prohibited from possessing a firearm. Cupp's sentencing is scheduled for May 28th at 2 p.m. Later tonight, we will take a closer look at the verdict and the trial, but that's all I have for now. Thank you, Logan. Back to you.
Thank you, Chase.